Imagine finding out the person you trusted most in the world, your wife, the mother of your kids, was sneaking off behind your back, not just lying to you, but dragging your children into the cover story. That was my reality. But instead of blowing up in anger, I played the long game, and what I uncovered didn't just end our marriage. It destroyed her lover's entire life. If you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever wished you could serve justice cold and calculated, then hit that like button right now. Subscribe for more true stories of karma at its finest, because today, you're about to hear one of the most satisfying revenge tales I've ever lived through. Way back in the early 2000s, life looked simple. My wife and I had 2 kids, just 4 and 6 years old. Still little, but old enough to tell me about their day in that messy, innocent way only kids can. At first, the signs were small. They'd come home talking about spending time with their grandparents, my wife's parents. Sweet, right? Except her parents lived 90 minutes away. And my kids were suddenly there 2, 3 times a week. I brushed it off at first. Families help each other. But something felt off. A knot started forming in my stomach every time the kids brought it up. So I asked my wife, straightforward, "Hey, why are you driving all the way out there so often?" And she lied. She wasn't even a good liar. Her eyes darted. Her voice cracked. Her words felt rehearsed. I walked away from that conversation with my heart pounding and my gut screaming. Something is going on. That's when I started doing something I never thought I'd have to do in my marriage. I tracked the mileage on her car. Every time she came home, I noted the numbers down, week after week. And the math didn't lie. She was putting on an extra 400 miles. 400. That wasn't just errands. My hands would shake every time I added up the numbers. I wanted to believe I was wrong, but I knew. And then the universe practically handed me confirmation. One afternoon, I sat down at our family computer, and there it was, a sticky note, sitting right next to the keyboard, with her AOL password written on it, like a golden ticket. I shouldn't have. I know some people would say it's a violation, but if your gut already knows your world is about to shatter, what would you do? I logged in. My eyes scanned line after line of emails, and then my chest went cold. There it was. Conversations with her college best friend. Casual, smug, dripping with cruelty. She admitted she was regularly hooking up with one of her ex-boyfriends from high school. Not only that, she mocked the guy's wife. Laughed about how she'd let herself go after kids. I sat there, staring at the screen, my fists clenched so hard my nails dug into my palms. But I didn't scream. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I printed the emails, stashed them away, because I knew this wasn't just about emotions anymore. I needed the truth. All of it. That's when I called in help. A buddy of mine was a cop, and he pointed me toward a private investigator. Let's call him Ron. A guy who'd seen it all. I handed Ron the emails, the mileage notes, the suspicions, and within days, he came back with proof. Hard, undeniable proof. Photos, times, dates. The pattern was crystal clear. My wife would drop the kids at her parents', meet this guy for lunch, and then head straight to some dumpy motel. A few hours later, she'd pick up the kids, tuck them in bed, and act like she was Mother of the Year. I stared at those photos with a mix of rage and calm clarity. My childhood was scarred by cheating parents. The shouting, the lies, the way it ripped my siblings and me apart. I swore I'd never do that to my kids. And now, I had a choice. So I made a plan. First, I hired a divorce lawyer. Papers were drafted. Precise, professional, airtight. But there was one more piece. One more move that would turn this from my story of betrayal into a story of justice. I asked Ron to dig into her lover, the guy who thought he was getting away with it. And oh, Ron delivered. His name was Bob. Married. 3 kids. And here's the kicker. He wasn't just some random dude. He was a vice president of sales at his father-in-law's business. His whole cushy life handed to him by his wife's family. That's when the chessboard came alive in my mind. Here's how it went down. On the same day my wife was served divorce papers at her job. Papers she never saw coming. Ron walked straight into Bob's wife's life. He handed her the full report. Every photo, every timestamp. I'll never forget the feeling that night. My wife was exploding with shock and fury. Bob's wife? Well, she detonated a nuclear bomb on his life. Court records later told the story. She cleaned out their joint account, took the kids, and left. Her father, the man who gave Bob his cushy job, fired him the moment he learned the truth. And since they lived in a house her parents owned, guess what? He was evicted too. But it didn't stop there. Their divorce was brutal. Ugly court battles, shouting matches, restraining orders. At one point, Bob stormed the house, and his brother-in-law broke his nose. Police reports. Jail time. His shiny, smug life crumbled to dust. As for me, my divorce went smoothly. Clean. Professional. I kept it focused on the kids. Years later, my children are grown. I don't speak to my ex beyond what's necessary. I don't hate her. I don't feel anything really. She's just their mom, and that's all. But Bob, last I heard, he vanished, moved out of state, can't be found online. Meanwhile, his ex-wife thrived. She took over her dad's company and raised her kids on her own terms. Justice served, not in a fiery outburst, but in cold, calculated moves. And the sweetest part? I never had to raise my voice once. The moment my wife was served those papers, the color drained from her face. She thought she was living in control, balancing lies, sneaking around. And at the very same time, across town, her lover's wife was seeing the truth for the first time. Within weeks, his whole life burned to the ground. Job gone, family gone, home gone. And I didn't have to lift a finger in anger, just patience, precision, and proof. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen play out? Don't forget to subscribe, because I've got more true stories of karma you won't want to miss.